Hey everybody, looks like I've walked just a little bit over 25.1, just a little over 25 kilometers this week. That's great. This is great. As long as I can make that milestone, I'm happy. I don't have to, I don't need to go over the 50 kilometers every week thing. Okay, let me just get rid of this clock. This is my second attempt at recording. First attempt, well, I want to say that it didn't go very well. It's just, I started the recording and it was a bit laggy. So I just, stopped after about 2 minutes. Didn't even have to say anything. It was just, checking to see if the game was laggy going properly. So I just stopped the recording, exited the game, and came back into it with the recording app working. So yeah, looks like everything's working so far. So hey, hello everybody, what's up? So yes, yesterday was short. It was unusually and uncharacteristically short for an episode, and I pretty much went over all the reasons as to why that was yesterday, but I'll go over them again, just in case someone didn't watch that episode. So, so yesterday, first of all, I started really late, and because I first of all I overslept, and I met up with my father, and we sat down and started bouncing ideas off on my Pokemon region that I'm developing. The Molash region for the Pokemon game that I hope to turn into a reality sometime soon. Let me just check and see if this Darkrai over there, someone's challenging it. There's 5 minutes left. Evidently not. So goodbye then, Mr. Darkrai. You have eluded my grasp once again. So anyways, me and my dad were bouncing ideas all day, like yesterday. Well, not all day, for a couple of hours yesterday. And then after that, I joined Mark Riley's writer's room on his Patreon page, and kind of laid down my ideas for a Pokemon game. First of all, I had to explain to Mark Riley what Pokemon is, because other than just, they're wild monsters and you fight them and catch them. Other than that, he didn't know anything about Pokemon. So kind of had to explain a little bit to him. I went to the stuff that I knew he would like, which is the lore stuff, the legendary lore. I told him a little bit about the story of Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, and how they play a big part in the game. And I'm pretty much sure I blew his mind last night, because I was literally watching him, and you can actually see his brain starting to melt and pour out of his ears. And there are other people with us in that writer's room. I'm not really sure how big of Pokemon fans they are, but they kind of mentioned to him, yeah, Riley, while he was kind of like, you're blowing my mind. That's what Pokemon is? I never even knew that. And they were like, that's like 5 generations ago, Mark, where have you been? And so yeah, it was kind of funny, but yeah, so we bounced off some good ideas, and well, it gave me a really good starting point for what I'm trying to do. It was mostly one of his patrons, John Mariano, I believe his name is, but he gave me a really good advice. He said, first of all, you need to start with your Bible, not the actual Bible, but how did he put this? The rules of the world and of your game. So like it's basically like the Bible of this particular universe. Like, I'm basically the god of that of this little fictional universe, and I decide what goes and what doesn't go, and I decide how the rules go, and I decide when and if to change them. Really good ideas. So I kind of thought about it for a little bit. And, first of all, I came to the realization that I have a very unique advantage over people who are just trying to make original games, which is the advantage is that I'm already going into a pre-existing franchise, which already has a Bible, so to speak. It's all its own set of rules and how things should work and how things should happen. So I don't really have to do too much work on that front, but what I do have to do is just do what every other Pokemon game before me and every other fan-made Pokemon game did before me, which is try to figure out how to put my own unique spin on this thing. Try to see how I can make my game different from anything else that came before it. A difficult task to be sure, obviously, but not impossible. So after that meeting, I went back and rewatched all of Lockston's videos on how he is laying out all the rules and the basic mechanics of his Pokemon region, the Cascade region, and it kind of gave me a little bit of a better perspective looking at it after having that conversation with Riley and his patrons. Basically, here's what Lockston decided to do for his region. Because of where he lives, obviously, which is the Pacific Northwest, which is where the weather changes are pretty drastic and crazy, he decided to make his Pokemon game all about the weather. The game pretty much revolves. Sorry, too many people. So the lockdown is over, and suddenly people are all out in the streets again. Anyway, so he decided to make his Pokemon region pretty much revolve around the weather. Same way that the weather more or less revolves around the real world area, which is where he lives. And how this came about was through the legendaries. I mean, I'm not going to go into too many details. You should probably check out his video because he did a masterful job explaining it, much better than I ever will be. But basically what he did was he came up with the two box art legendaries, one of which is a fire type, with the other one is an ice type. They pretty much represent summer and winter. The fire type obviously representing summer, and the ice type representing winter. And they also have these heralds, sort of like the Silver Surfer for Galactus. They have heralds, one of which is a fairy type, which is the herald of the fire type. It represents spring. The other one is a ghost type, which represents autumn, and is the herald of the ice type. So basically, all four of these legendaries are walking around the region, and because the region is kind of split into four mostly equal quadrants, the region is experiencing every single season at once, at the same time, which is kind of neat. And you really think about it, it's a really, really neat idea for a Pokemon game, something that hasn't been done before. I mean, sure, they had Pokemon seasons before in Black and White, but it was more of a game mechanic than anything else. Like, certain areas and certain Pokemon changed their appearance depending on the weather. But in this game, weather is almost like a character onto itself in that game. Sort of like the Millennium Falcon is a character onto itself in the Star Wars franchise, or like John Williams' music is a character in each and every movie that he scores. So it's not a sentient character necessarily, but it's such an integral part of the IP that it's inseparable from it. It's like an actual character. So this is what he did with the weather in his region. Sort of bouncing off ideas of my own right now. I think I have a good direction that a good angle that I could use. Let me just see if there are any Dingo Rocket leaders around this area. Good. I want to, I'm very close to hatching a strange egg, so I can replace it with another strange egg. As you do. Okay, this is way too dangerous. I'm gonna go for the safer route over there. Anyways, like I said, I have an idea. Now, this idea sort of came a little bit earlier in the development process, but after speaking with those people, I think I have a way how to develop it and make it a part of the Bible, so to speak, of the region. And I'm going to base this on this whole idea of the three religions. Yeah. Because the number 3 is a number that actually repeats itself pretty often in my Pokemon region. I mean, for obvious reasons, there are 3 starters, but I mean, that's nothing new. That's not something that I've created, right? But yeah, the number 3 goes even above and beyond that in my region. First of all, unlike most regions which have multiple different segments to them and a linear progression, mine is mostly non-linear progression. Like, you start at the small town, which is what every Pokemon game is. You go to the major city, and that's where you have your that's where you get your Pokemon. That's where you have your first gym battle and everything. And then you choose to build your own journey. There we go. There's the strange egg. Now we can go find ourselves a Team Go Rocket leader. A Larvitar. How nice. How wonderful. Pretty sure there's another one that should be hatching. There we go. Wee! A Sandile! Nice! I love Sandile! My first Sandile in this game! Ah, how nice! And I don't have enough candy to evolve it. That sucks! Oh, wow. But hey, at least I got myself a Sandile. I love Sandile. Anyways, let's just get myself another egg. Ooh, and it's a 10-kilometer egg. There should be something good coming from it, unless, of course, it's another freaking Feebas. We all know how valuable those are, am I right? Anyways, so, like I said, the number 3 is a very recurring theme in my region. First of all, like I said, unlike most regions, my region is divided into 3 segments. There's the lush green area of the north, the barren desert of the south, and there's the very urban, densely populated center. I think maybe there's a way for me to expand on that, because like I said, I'm planning to also include the 3 religions. into this game. And similar to how my starters in my Pokemon region each represent a different part of the region. Specifically, the bull representing the north, the camel representing the south, and the crab representing the center. I want the legendaries to represent that as well. Yeah, that's a good idea, because the more I thought about this idea, the more it became clear to me that the legendaries, more specifically the box art legendaries, they are the ones that drive the plot forward. They're the ones who kind of decide the rules of the game. I brought it up during the meeting yesterday, but Groudon and Kyogre are always, one represents the land, the other one represents the ocean. Rayquaza obviously represents the air. And Groudon and Kyogre are always in a constant battle for dominance over the Hoenn region. And whenever those two wake up from their respective caves and begin to fight one another, they're at the risk of destroying the entire region, pulling the entire region apart. Which obviously forces Rayquaza, which is the master of both of them, to wake up from its slumber and separate the two, bringing peace back to the region. Now, I could go on and just give out examples of how all the other regions pretty much live and die by the box art legendaries. I mean, there's another pretty obvious example with the Unova Dragons, how there used to be one dragon, and after they got into a fight, the brothers, who are the children of the king of the region back in the day, they got into a fight, and as a result, the original dragon split in half, split into two different dragons, and just that's what divided the region into two halves. So yeah, the legendaries pretty much drive the narrative, at least the lore. More specifically, the lore that the protagonist itself, not the player, but the protagonist, doesn't necessarily experience for himself or herself. You know? Oops, my bad. It's all the stories, myths, and legends that came about before the main characters were even born. Like the history of the region. Now, quite often the quote-unquote Bible in Pokemon is a little bit different from most other types of Bibles, because unlike the case with most Bibles, those events actually happened and can happen today. I mean, just look at Sword and Shield. Like, they have a ton of mythology explaining the Darkest Day and the two heroes with the Sword and Shield Pokemon and all of that. And guess what? It actually happens. And that's how you fight and eventually catch Eternatus. Okay, there's Cliff. Oh, nope. Good. I didn't get an egg from that. Ooh, that was close. Gotta learn to stop doing that. Okay, he's using an Ammonite, I believe. Should be pretty easy.
Does your ass feel pathetic yet?
Yeah. Okay, so. Where was I? Okay, quickly take this guy down. Oh yeah, forgot this guy is using water type moves, and he's using them very fast. Yeah, I mean, I'm using counter. It's a fighting type move. Get over it. Okay, that's good. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to do super effective damage because he's gonna use his shields on me, but I don't care. I'd say should care because he's gonna destroy my Heatran in about a few seconds. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to take up some time. But no, I don't think we've got this. Okay, new plan. Pretty sure he's gonna use a Tyranitar as his final Pokemon. Okay, new plan. New plan. Gonna use an electric type or a grass type. Just finish this off. Where's my Breloom? I haven't actually used my Breloom in a very long time. Yes, shut up. Rematch. Or I could just use a Alolan Executor. That's nice. Probably Dragonite and Shiny Dose. Again, preparing myself for the Tyranitar that I think he's going to have. Now, using Bullet Seed will be 4 times super effective on this Omanyte, which, as you can see, is going to take him out very fast. And also, he's using Water Gun, which is 4 times resistant by my Grass Dragon Executor. So, no reason to worry about that. Let's just use Dragon Pulse, if for no other reason than just to get rid of his first shield. Because, you know, it's not going to hit him anyway. And now we have another Dragon Pulse ready to go before he even sends out his Machamp. And we're going to use said Dragon Pulse before his Machamp even has a chance to attack. That's how you build up strategy in this game. Okay, we're going to do one more Dragon Pulse before he takes us out. Just in the nick of time. Now both my other Pokemon resist fighting because they're both flying types, but still, should be ready for anything. And of course this guy is ready with a Rock Slide to take me down whenever he needs to. Now, if I'm reading this right and he does have a Tyranitar, yep, he does. Rock and Dart. Steel Wing should be super effective on him. Outrage! I don't anticipate it doing too much damage, but if he takes me out, which he most likely will, very soon. Oh, look at that! An Outrage. Pretty sure that even if he took me out right now, Gyarados would have finished it off with Waterfall. So, yeah. That's how, like I said, that's how you build strategy in this game. So anyway, as I was saying, it's important for me right now to build up, to figure out what my legendaries are. And that's the part where I struggle the most. I'm going to have another talk with my dad because he really helped me out yesterday. And I'm gonna need him to help me figure out the legendaries. I mean, I can add the mythicals later as sort of supplemental lore and stuff, but the way I see it right now, the legendaries are the most important part and how they figure into the game. Because like I said, my region is split into 3 distinct parts: north, south, and center. I need a different legendary to represent each one of those. Obviously... Oh, where did you go? Well, since you're here... The way I see it, there are 3 potential legendaries that I can use. Obviously, I want one to represent Judaism, I want another one to represent Christianity, and another one to represent Islam. The Islamic one is going to be the one I'm going to struggle with the most, because that's the one I know the least about. That's why I'm gonna talk to my dad about it. Because if anyone knows, he knows. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him after this. I want my I want my Jewish legendary to be represented by Merkava. Now, Merkava is primarily known today as the tank. It's the official tank created by Israel. That's what it's most known for, but it's also a Jewish symbol. It's sort of like a 3-dimensional Star of David. Good, Agron is already here. I can just claim the heart for fighting with him, and we can move on. As a matter of fact, I can go back. I can go back home now. I did what I needed to do over here. No reason to stay too much. Why are these Zubats taking so long to take down? Especially the super effective damage. Okay, well, at least now I have Zap Cannon on my side. Great, and it's a Crowbat, not a Golbat. It's gonna be even more difficult. Awesome. And of course he uses a dragon, because why not? Fortunately for me, Steel resists dragon, and even if her Dragonite manages to take me out, I can just use my Aggron, which has Dragon Tail as its fast attack. Also, it's another Steel type, so it resists Dragon. Pretty sure he's using Dragon Tail as well. But here we go. Dragon Tail for the win, and say bye-bye to Dragonite. As I was saying, so I want my Jewish legendary Pokemon to be to represent Merkava, but I don't want it to be just a straight up Merkava with eyes, arms, and legs. I want it to be a little bit more sophisticated than that. So, like, it could have the body shape of a Merkava crossed with the actual tank that it shares its namesake with. But I also want it to be an animal that really represents Judaism. Probably a lion. Although, maybe not a lion, because I already have another idea for lions. The Kroovs, which I'm not even sure I'm saying it right, but the Kroovs are basically 2 giant lion statues that guard the entrance to heaven. So I want these to be grass and steel. I want them to be lions that are kind of shaped like cabbages, because Kruv is also the Hebrew word for cabbage, so it's kind of a play on words. And Game Freak does that from time to time with their Pokemon, so it makes sense that I would do it. Especially since it's such an obvious joke that I'd be a fool not to take advantage of it. What I'm gonna do with the Christian Pokemon. So I could just have it always being in a T pose. I think I got it. It could be. Could be a white bird Pokemon. It's going to be flying and fairy, I think, and it's always at a T, standing in a T pose, because that's basically it's going to be in the shape of a cross with its wings spread to either side of its bodies, its tail representing the longer part of the cross, and the short part on the top is represented by its head, and its head can be shaped like an apsis, which is the part in a church where you the part in the church where you pray. Yeah, that's a good idea. And it's going to be a white dove because it's going to represent the Holy Spirit. Or maybe it should be a ghost type, I don't know. Ghost Fairy. Yeah, that's perfect. It's going to be a Ghost Fairy legendary because I want the Jewish Merkava Pokemon to be Steel and Psychic. That way it's going to be perfect because Steel beats Fairy, but Ghost beats Psychic. That way, they can keep each other in check. What am I going to do with the Islamic Pokemon though? I want it to be represented by the moon, obviously, but I mean, I can't go too close to Lunala. So let me see. Oh, okay, I got it. It's going to be a poison type. Oh no, wait. No, that's not good. It's going to be dark type. I could just make it dark and ghost. Like Lunala, but a little bit different. It's not going to be like in the shape of a bat. The reason why it's going to be a ghost and dark type is because, well, no, wait, that still doesn't work. The type combos. The type combinations need to work like a triangle. More specifically, 2 triangles. Just like I did with the starters. See, the idea is that I want all 3 legendaries to both be super effective on one of their types, on one of each other's types, but also resist the other. Shiny! A shiny Misdrevious! Oh, that was unexpected. An unexpected surprise, but a welcome one in that. And its CP is 1234. I love it. Finally, I got myself a shiny Misdrevious after this weeks-long event. Oh shoot! It's a new month, so I guess this one isn't going to be in the shiny reactions for the month of October, but at least I got my first one for the month of November. That's great. Let me just check it out really quick. Speaking of which, I should probably get on that. Come on. Ugh. Why do all my shinies suck? Seriously. Why are all the shinies that I keep finding are all terrible? Excluding those that are, you know, from raids or from community days. The ones are from raids are even harder to find, and the ones from community days are practically given to you. So those don't really count. Still, shiny is a shiny, and should be treated as such. Anyways, what? I think I got it. I think, type triangles are very difficult. Okay, so, making the Jewish Merkava Pokemon Steel and Psychic makes sense. First of all, the Psychic part makes sense because it's God. I mean, it's literally God. Alright? And, you know, quite often the godlike Pokemon are all Psychic. But it also makes sense for it to be Steel, because it's also a tank. It's a Merkava. Alright? As for the Christian one, it makes sense for it to be Ghost and Fairy. First of all, because of the Holy Spirit. It's a spirit. It's literally a ghost. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Also Fairy, because once again, God. I mean, you could separate the godlike Pokemon into two distinct groups. Psychics and fairies. Like, take for example, Xerneas, the Pokemon of Life. Fairy type, no question about that. No. And what's a good example for a psychic godlike Pokemon? I mean, Lugia, I suppose. So yeah, the Merkava Pokemon is Psychic and Steel, the Holy Spirit Pokemon, Ghost and Fairy. And it also works because, like I said, Steel is super effective on Fairy, but Ghost is super effective on Psychic. The Moon Pokemon, well, maybe not the Moon Pokemon, but the Islamic Pokemon concept. It's really tricky. I don't want to make it too close to That's why I need to talk to my dad about this. I need to consult with the expert on these things. If anyone has the answers, he probably does. I want it to be a moon because, you know, the moon represents Islam. But figuring out the type is going to be the hardest part, because it has to be weak to both psychic and to be weak to either psychic. It has to be weak to one of the 4 types of the other ones, but super effective on the others. That's a tricky one. To figure out the type combination, I'm going to have to sit down with a chart, have all the types in front of me, and figure out how do I do this. Maybe it could be fire type. That's interesting, because it's super effective on both. It's super effective on super effective on steel. Resists fairy and steel, I believe. But I don't know. Can't make it fighting, because it's weak to both psychic and fairy. And I mean, ghost is immune to fighting, so get that idea out of my head. I'm kind of struggling with whether or not I should make it dark. Maybe dark and rock? But no, that still doesn't make sense. Part of the problem is that steel doesn't really have a lot of things that it's super effective on. Well, we've already mentioned that fighting is off the table, so no reason to keep thinking about that. It's a pickle. It is a pickle. Well, I'll probably know more after I talk to my dad about it. Like I said, if anyone would know, it most likely would be him. So, yeah, should probably talk to my dad now. As soon as I'm done with this episode, obviously. Well, I mean, I spent pretty much the entire episode talking about this game, but I mean, it makes sense, because it's very important to me. It's a really big project for me, and I want to devote as much time to it as possible. Plus, I mean, it's not like there's anything new to do in this game, right? I was just walking around here catching Pokemon by fighting other Team Go Rocket people, collecting eggs, and I found a shiny. So that's always good. But other than that, there really isn't anything to do in this game right now. I'm just waiting for the Ghosts of Halloween event. That's a good name for it, by the way. I'm just waiting for the Ghosts of Halloween event to be over, so that we can move on to the next event. But still, also, going back to my earlier discussion about my game, coming up with the type combinations of the legendaries is going to be a tough thing on its own. But how they fit into the overall region and the story, that's going to take even more work. You know what? I think I got it. I think I'm just going to make it Ghost and Dragon. Yeah, I'm gonna make it Ghost and Dragon. The two shinies. Wouldn't want to break that winning combination, now would I? let's put the Misdrevius I just found. Yeah, so now there are 3 shinies in this place. And I know for a fact that at least one of them sucks. Never mind. So yeah, I'm going to make the Islamic Pokemon, legendary Pokemon Ghost Dragon. That way it's super effective on both of the type, both of the other ones, but it's also resisted by both of them. Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's the best I could come up with. And, I mean, it's documented. I mean, it's all right here in this episode how much I've struggled coming up with a perfect type effectiveness triangle for these ones. So basically, Ghost is super effective on both Psychic and Ghost. It's super effective on Psychic and Ghost. However, Dragon is resisted by Steel, and Fairies are immune to it. And as an added bonus, I mean, the ghostly part of the Christian Pokemon is also weak. It's both weak to the Ghost Islamic type, but it's also super effective on it. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's not really the best, but I mean, it's the best I could come up with. I mean, it's not like the legendaries all have the perfect type triangles attached to them. You know, I mean, I can come up with some examples just off the top of my head. The legendary Kanto birds, alright? Oops. Looks like the camera just went out. Good timing, though. Hello. So anyways, I was about to say, with the legendary Kanto birds, both Articuno and Moltres are weak to Zapdos because they're all weak to electric. Alright? Moltres is super effective on Articuno because it's fire on ice. And Articuno is basically not very effective on either of them. Well, that's not 100% true. It is super effective on Zapdos because it's a flying type. And it also resists ice because it is also an ice type. But then again, I mean, it's completely useless against Moltres because even though flying is weak to ice, Moltres is neutral to it because it's also fire type. But still, again, both of them are weak to Zapdos, and Zapdos is neutral to electric because it is an electric type. Alright? Whoop! A puddle. With the legendary beasts, the legendary dogs, whatever you want to call them, I mean, Suicune is super effective on Entei, Raikou is super effective on Suicune, and, you know, Entei is super effective against neither of them. You know, it's like that. With the legendary, with the Reggies, for example, I mean, I know they're not box art legendaries, but then again, neither are the legendary beasts. With the Reggies, for example, where was I going? Oh yeah, with the Reggies, I mean, Regice is pretty much weak to both of them because it's weak to rock and steel. And in addition to that, I mean, Registeel is super effective on Regirock also. and it also resists the other two. Groudon, Rayquaza, and Kyogre. I mean, Kyogre is super effective on Groudon, and Rayquaza is resistant to Kyogre and immune to Groudon, even when Groudon uses Solar Beam, which it can't make full use of Drought because of Rayquaza's airlock. You know, I mean, I guess if Groudon is slower than Kyogre in that particular instance, Drought kicks in a little after Kyogre's Drizzle, which means it's going to be sunny, and Groudon is just going to use Solar Beam in one turn and take out Kyogre. But again, the type triangle isn't really all that good. Probably the worst example of it is with the Kalos legendaries, because Zygarde is supposed to keep according to the legend, that is, Zygarde is supposed to keep both Xerneas and Yveltal or Yveltal in check. Xerneas obviously is super effective on Yveltal because it's a fairy type over a dark type. But in the case of Zygarde, I mean, both Xerneas and Yveltal are immune to Zygarde because Xerneas is immune to Dragon, and Yveltal is immune to Ground. So, like I said, it's not the perfect type triangle ever, what I have, but it's the best I could come up with under the circumstances. Alright? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go start working on this episode and talk to my dad while I'm at it. See you guys tomorrow. Yveltal!
Hello again, everybody! I really hope you enjoyed this video, because I really enjoyed making it. So, if you like what you've seen here, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. So, until next time, guys, I'll see you guys next time.